The 7 shocking archaeological discoveries in China that scared scientists into running away. When it comes to the most famous archaeological anecdotes in China, experts still cannot forget the most dangerous excavation they ever conducted. This was the excavation of the Dingling tomb of Emperor Wanli, the 13th emperor of the Ming Dynasty. Dingling is one of the largest royal tombs with immense historical significance, not only in terms of its size, but also due to the grandeur of the structures and the treasures found inside. Besides Dingling, China has many other tombs that have been discovered and evoke a chilling sense of fear, such as the tomb of Emperor Qin Shi Huang's daughter or the 1,000-year-old tomb of a princess from the Liao Dynasty. These tombs are not only cultural heritage sites with huge stone blocks and ancient artifacts, but also contain mysterious stories related to unforeseen dangers. Let's explore the mysteries of these tombs and experience the wonders and eerie allure of Chinese history now. The 700-year-old tomb of a powerful eunuch from the Ming Dynasty. In March of this year, Chinese archaeologists announced important details about an excavation that took place from July to December 2023. This excavation was of an ancient Ming Dynasty tomb dating from 1368 to 1644, located in Xinzhou, Shanxi Province in central China. The tomb featured exterior windows carved with floral patterns along with many precious artifacts. According to the archaeologists, the epitaph inside the tomb helped them identify the tomb as belonging to Wang Luo, a eunuch who governed Xinzhou and is believed to have died in his 50s. The epitaph also contained valuable life advice, such as, "Those who borrow money to get rich should not be arrogant. They should change their demeanor and be polite when meeting people of all ages." Additionally, when the tomb was excavated, 2 well-preserved wooden coffins were discovered. The larger coffin, painted in yellowish-brown, was decorated with patterns and an inscription stating, "Entrusted by the Ming Dynasty to serve the imperial court as an official in the palace." The smaller coffin featured colorful floral, grass, and peacock patterns that remained vivid and detailed. Inside the chamber containing Wang Luo's coffins, there were 2 compartments with intact ceramic containers, which were believed to hold grains and oil. In a private room behind the tomb, the archaeologists found wooden furniture buried with the deceased. The items included various bowls, plates, and jars, creating the impression that the deceased had recently dined before their departure. The room also contained lamps, incense burners, tin vases, cups, bowls, painted wooden figurines, and other ceremonial items. A chair in the tomb still bore beautiful gold-painted patterns on its backrest. Archaeologists also noted, the tomb is well constructed, with many preserved wooden burial items and ceremonial offerings. These items are rare in Xinzhou and even in Shanxi Province. They may provide valuable insights into the shape of the tomb, the social life, and burial customs during the Ming Dynasty in this region. Eunuchs played an important role in Chinese history, first appearing during Emperor Han's reign from 146 to 167 BCE of the Han Dynasty, and continuing through both the Western and Eastern Han periods. Eunuchs in the imperial court often held positions of power, sometimes controlling the fate of a dynasty. At the time the Ming Dynasty transitioned to the Qing Dynasty, 70,000 eunuchs lived in the Forbidden City. However, the eunuch system was eventually abolished in 1924 when Puyi, the last emperor of China, left the Forbidden City. Find the sighing mummy in a 2,000-year-old tomb. Xi'an, known as the Holy Land of Tombs, has long been a highlight on China's cultural map. With its millennia of history, it retains many secrets about the past, and each time an ancient tomb is unearthed, a new story emerges. Recently, during an excavation in the Hanyang district of Xi'an, Shanxi Province, an unexpected event occurred. While workers were excavating, they suddenly discovered an ancient tomb and immediately notified archaeologists for a detailed survey. Based on drawings, artifacts, and traces of an ancient civilization, experts quickly identified the tomb as dating back to the Western Han Dynasty, almost 2,000 years ago. However, the unusual part was that when they opened the coffin, they did not find any grave goods inside, just a coffin and a mummy. This led the experts to speculate that the tomb might have been looted. To uncover the truth, they decided to open the coffin. What followed were a series of strange events. First, they discovered that the mummy inside was still remarkably well preserved, even though it had been submerged in water for a long time. Then they heard a strange sound, resembling a sigh, emanating from the mummy. This was a phenomenon never before recorded and shocked the entire team of experts. To unravel this mystery, the specialists conducted thorough research. Eventually, they discovered that the strange sound came from the mummy having been submerged in seawater for centuries. The high salt concentration in the seawater had drawn moisture from the body and replaced it with salt, preventing decomposition by inhibiting the growth of bacteria and microorganisms. When the coffin lid was opened, the influx of oxygen triggered biological mechanisms that vibrated the mummy's vocal cords, producing a sound similar to a sigh, which startled the experts, making them think the deceased had returned to life. However, they concluded that while the phenomenon was mysterious and eerie, it was simply a biological event that could be explained. Thus, this ancient tomb once again demonstrated the power of preservation in special environmental conditions, continuing to offer fascinating discoveries about the cultural past of the Chinese people. The tomb of the daughter of Qin Shi Huang. Ascending the throne at the age of 13, Qin Shi Huang became the first emperor of China and one of its greatest rulers in history. Countless legends and myths surround this emperor, and the Great Wall of China, as well as the Link Canal, which still stand today, are clear testament to his visionary accomplishments. However, despite his grandeur and the magnificent achievements of his reign, his personal life was filled with tragedy. According to experts, Qin Shi Huang had 33 heirs, the most famous of whom were his sons Fu Tuo and Huo Ho, the latter becoming the second emperor of the Qin Dynasty. Particularly notable was his beloved daughter Ying Man. Favored by her father, Ying Man lived a life of luxury, free from worries. However, everything changed after Qin Shi Huang's death. In the blink of an eye, the princess lost everything, and together with her brothers, she was sentenced to death by dismemberment. This tragic event is reflected in a group of ancient tombs in the eastern Qinling Mountains in Shanxi Province, China, which were excavated by experts in October 1976. After uncovering the first 8 tombs, experts discovered numerous unusual details. In these tombs, most of the remains were buried in disarray, with some bodies having been severed, arrows piercing through them, or limbs detached. This indicates that those buried there had suffered brutal and savage deaths. Furthermore, the tombs were located near the Qinling Mountains and contained vast quantities of burial goods, which led the experts to believe the individuals buried there were closely linked to the Qin royal family, especially Qin Shi Huang himself. A particularly revealing discovery was a seal inscribed with the words Yang Su, found in the tomb, which helped confirm the identity of the princess Ying Man, the beloved daughter of the first emperor. At that point, all the secrets were revealed. After Qin Shi Huang's death, Prince Huo Ho conspired with the eunuch Zhao Gao to forge an imperial decree, plotting to kill Crown Prince Fu Tuo and seize the throne for himself. Once he secured the throne, Huo Ho massacred all his opponents and murdered his own siblings. As a result, 12 princes were beheaded in Handan, and 10 princesses were dismembered, leading to widespread bloodshed in the royal palace. However, after only 3 years in power, chaos erupted in the court. Huo Ho was forced to abdicate and committed suicide in disgrace, causing the fall of the Qin Dynasty. This tragic historical episode marked one of the darkest moments in Chinese history. The most terrifying imperial tomb in China. In 1955, the archaeological team led by Guo Matuo began excavating the tomb of Emperor Wanli, located at the Ming Dynasty's Dingling mausoleum. For a relatively young archaeological team, this was a highly risky and challenging task. Dingling, also known as Ming Dingling, dates back more than 300 years. It is the final resting place of Emperor Wanli, the 13th emperor of the Ming Dynasty, and took 6 years to build, costing nearly 8 million taels of silver. Though it wasn't as large as other imperial tombs, Dingling was still constructed with great attention to detail, which created significant obstacles for the excavation team. It took over a year and a half for the archaeologists to find the entrance to the tomb. When they finally located it, they discovered that the entrance was sealed by a diamond-shaped wall, 8.8 meters high and 1.6 meters thick. As the excavation progressed, local rumors began circulating, claiming that the tomb contained a river and that one had to travel by boat through a deep chasm filled with sharp swords to reach the emperor's coffin. Furthermore, only someone born on the same day and month as Emperor Wanli could access the tomb. This caused significant concern among the excavation team. Nevertheless, Guomatuo's team chose to disregard these superstitions and continued with the excavation. After months of persistent effort, the team finally reached the main chamber where the emperor's coffin lay. According to the excavation team, 3 red coffins were placed in the central room. The middle one belonged to Emperor Wanli, and the 2 others were for his empresses. Upon opening the coffins, the archaeologists were thrilled to find a wealth of rare and priceless treasures. Among the most notable discoveries was the emperor's dragon crown, embedded with over 120 precious gems and 5,000 pearls, all crafted entirely with gold thread. However, archaeological methods at the time were still primitive. Due to limited resources, some of the artifacts discovered in the tomb were severely damaged. The archaeologists at the time deemed the emperor's wooden coffin unimportant for research and left it by a mountain crevice. 7 villagers, hearing about this, went to the site to collect the wood, dividing it among themselves. They were elated to have obtained timber that was more than 300 years old, unaware that their actions would bring disaster. Soon after, strange occurrences began to happen. An elderly couple had a coffin made from the emperor's wood, but within 2 weeks, both died. Another farmer placed a piece of the wood on an altar, and all 4 of his children died mysteriously. Those who had shared in the wood from the emperor's coffin soon began facing misfortune. Even the archaeologists involved in the excavation faced strange incidents. Guomatuo's wife, Wu Liping, hung herself in their old house in Beijing, while their 2 sons also committed suicide. The lead archaeologist, Zheng Zhendao, died in a plane crash, and the project's director, Wu Han, committed suicide in prison. The photographer, Liu Dean, who opened the emperor's coffin, also hanged himself. It seemed that the moment the tomb was opened, the curse of Emperor Wanli's tomb began to take effect. Despite the many valuable treasures found within, Dingling left behind fear and dread within the archaeological community in China. Since then, the excavation of imperial tombs has become an unspoken taboo within the field of Chinese archaeology. The mysterious liquid in the 1,000-year-old tomb. In 1986, a miraculous event took place in the eastern region of Inner Mongolia, China, when archaeologists discovered a nearly 1,000-year-old royal tomb, shedding light on the era of the Liao Dynasty. The Liao Dynasty, which existed from 907 to 1125, was a significant period in Chinese history, and this tomb was identified as that of Princess Liao Chengguo, the granddaughter of Emperor Jingzong of Liao. Upon its discovery, the tomb attracted special attention from both experts and the public. At that time, historical records on the Liao dynasty were scarce, making every new find from this period extremely important. However, many tombs of Liao emperors had been severely damaged and were no longer useful for research. What made this discovery even more remarkable was the strange occurrence that took place when the experts began to move the princess's body for further study. A mysterious white liquid suddenly began leaking from the cracks in the coffin and poured out in increasing amounts. Upon seeing this, the experts quickly alerted everyone to evacuate the tomb. They managed to escape just in time, as they were aware that the Khitan people, ancestors of the Liao dynasty, had the custom of pouring mercury over the bodies of the deceased to preserve them. As you may know, mercury is highly toxic. The large amount of mercury soaked into the coffin explained why the princess's body, despite being over 1,000 years old, had not decomposed. However, exposure to a large amount of mercury vapor can cause poisoning, convulsions, and even death, which is why the archaeological team had to immediately evacuate the area. What made this tomb even more unique was that it contained not only the princess's remains, but also those of her husband. This was an extremely rare find, as prior to this, Chinese archaeology had only recorded cases where concubines were buried alongside emperors or princes. Princess Liao Chengguo passed away at the young age of 18, beloved and greatly favored by her father, which was reflected in her many title changes. She was initially named Princess Taiping, and later she was given the title of Princess Viet Guo. This explains why her tomb was so exquisitely designed and contained a vast amount of valuable burial goods. The coffin inscribed with 4 chilling words. During construction work in Xi'an, China, a group of workers made a mysterious discovery of an ancient tomb. This sparked the interest of archaeologists, and upon excavation, they found it to be the tomb of an important figure from the northern Zhou period, part of the Sui dynasty, which lasted from 581 to 619 AD. This ancient tomb contained a coffin made of precious materials, along with the remains of a young girl and several valuable artifacts. Through research and analysis, experts identified the tomb's owner as Li Jingshuan, the granddaughter of Empress Yang Lihua. Li Jingshuan died at the young age of 9, and according to the customs of the time, Empress Yang Lihua held a grand funeral and memorial service for her. The coffin holding Li Jingshuan's remains was carefully crafted by skilled artisans to reflect her high status. On the coffin's lid, 4 words were inscribed: "Anyone who opens it will die," a chilling curse meant to protect the tomb from grave robbers. Despite the warning, the team of experts decided to open the coffin to investigate and uncover the secrets inside. Fortunately, they encountered no misfortune and discovered over 200 valuable burial items, including pearl jewelry, oval-shaped glass items, and many other artifacts. Experts believe that the curse on the coffin played a significant role in protecting the tomb for centuries, as there were no signs of tomb raiders having disturbed it. The experts speculated that Empress Yang Lihua had placed so many treasures in her granddaughter's tomb because of her deep affection for her. Thus, Empress Yang Lihua may have wanted Li Jingshuan to continue living a royal life even in the afterlife. 20 coffins moving inside an ancient tomb. In 1978, while the Chinese Air Force was constructing a radar repair factory in the mountainous region of Sui County, now Suizhou City, Hubei Province, a surprising archaeological event occurred. This was one of the most important and dangerous discoveries ever made by the Chinese military. When the soldiers used explosives to level the ground, they had no idea that the large hole created by the blast would lead directly to an ancient tomb. Upon entering, the soldiers were amazed by the vibrant and detailed murals on the walls. They immediately realized that they had uncovered an important cultural relic and reported the discovery to higher authorities. Archaeologists from the Hubei Provincial Museum quickly arrived to survey and photograph the tomb. The event attracted media attention, with military helicopters being deployed to record every moment. The experts attempted to open a solid stone door leading into the tomb but encountered difficulties. The door was believed to be securely sealed to prevent grave robbers. After unsuccessful efforts, they had to request assistance from the military. When the tomb door finally opened, the soldiers were shocked to see 20 coffins inside, all moving. However, the archaeologists discovered that the movement of the coffins was mainly due to them floating on the water inside the tomb. When the large door was opened, the water began to flow out, causing the coffins to drift. Scientists theorize that the tomb might have been affected by an earthquake or flood in the past, which caused the groundwater to burst through. As a result, the coffins and artifacts within the tomb were submerged underwater, facing the risk of serious destruction. After conducting the retrieval operation and opening the 20 coffins, the archaeologists were stunned to find that the coffins contained the remains of young women. Based on the clothing and musical instruments buried with them, the experts speculated that these women were likely dancers, buried to perform and sing for the tomb's owner in the afterlife. Finally, the archaeologists found the main coffin of the tomb's owner. This coffin, made of lacquered wood, contained the remains of the tomb's owner and was placed in the eastern chamber. Notably, it was wrapped in a special coat made of bronze, designed in such a way as to allow the spirit of the deceased to wander freely. After preliminary testing, the archaeological team confirmed that the tomb belonged to King Zheng Haoyi, an important historical figure from the Warring States period. In addition to the 20 coffins, more than 15,000 artifacts were unearthed, including musical instruments, lacquered wooden items, gold and jade, weapons, chariots, bamboo, rattan, and 6,239 other bronze artifacts. Among these, a set of 65 bronze bells stood out for their exquisite design and sound quality, and they are considered a national treasure of China. The The ancient tombs discovered in China are not only the resting places of those who once lived, but also treasure troves of priceless cultural and historical artifacts. From vibrant murals and intricate architectural relics to rich collections of ancient objects, each tomb tells a story of the glorious past of the Chinese civilization. These discoveries not only help us better understand the origins and development of Chinese civilization, but also serve as an endless source of inspiration for future research and creativity. Which discovery impressed you the most? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to give us a like and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any future discoveries. For now, goodbye and see you again.